and see. Secret and Penta, what they're going to ban. A Monty ban is extremely common against Penta, and I wouldn't be too surprised. Secret don't tend to play shields, and of course you want to be able to take Hungry off of that pivotal role, and that'll lead things off. Pretty standard on that fare, or pretty standard fare, rather. But Penta's very quick next, and I would imagine...
Habana? Yes.
There you go. You cannot really play Bank with all three of the hard breachers left on the board. It just doesn't really work out. It completely destroys CCTV as a site, and does some significant harm to both CEO and open area as well.
Yeah, very similar to how you see things on Clubhouse with a defense down in Church. You just want to limit the options of the attack. Will it be Mira? No, it's Echo first. So nothing too surprising, just in case you want to still play a blitz or be effective on your rushes. Mira or Maestro usually the two banned at the end, or even a Pulse at times, and Mira will be the one. So we're going to see Maestro. We will probably see Pulse played as well. Obviously, you know, you mentioned the defense on CCTV. That's basically one of your more effective ways of playing on Bank. It gives you a lot less angles actually to hold as a defender. So you can focus your defense on basically more often than not the 1 or 2 entry points that the attackers will come through. And of course, as you saw, Penta Sports on the blue side starting off on the attack. We're bringing both hard breachers of the Maverick and the Thermite.
No real surprise. You're just going to stick Maverick on at least one of those hatches. It takes, what, 2 canisters of fuel for them to burn through, 3 canisters of fuel to burn through. 2.5. It's roughly 2.5.
Yeah, it's
it depends on how accurate you are, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing.
I think Gohan showed a specific one, where it's like 2.5 perfectly, but most players will go between 2.5 and 2 3/4. So.
Cameraman alongside him is very efficient as well. When we see him go through that at the admin hatch, upside or up in open area, just the office, the admin office right next to it. So that's where you're likely going to start off, and of course you're going to want to reinforce all of those hatches. Intriguingly, a lot of times Pulse ends up getting banned against Secret just to try to take Lackey off of his stride. But when you look at especially this side on Bank, you're going to see an awful lot of Pulse play.
Yes, it's not surprising at all. And Pulse in general, if you, in this case, you play on the same level just because you can hide in Gold Vault, right? You know, give information to your teammates. In this case, there's only 1 C4 to combo with Lackeys. That's Meepy running the Valkyrie. So it's very possible that Secret do not want to get too aggressive with the Valkyrie and just leave her in and around the site just for the extra flexibility should the round come to, you know, very late parts of it, and well, you require that sort of extra equipment. In the meantime, Penta just scouting things out, checking open area. Nobody really roaming on the Team Secret side. It's always nice to see where, for example, Maestro canister being set up on this site, just because there's so much information you can deal with. And well, in the meantime, Penta are not bringing any smokes, so you're not gonna have to deal with Capitao. Has been a big pick. And even Secret starting off with a lot of utility being set up here for Leon to play in the blue stairs.
It's a bit of a change to the way that we typically see this hold, and it could actually work very much against the Jaeger, who just shows his head a tiny bit. And Sir Boss could have really walked away with a free kill there. But Leon Gids is going to immediately vacate the site and head back on in. Now, a bit interesting because teams will be putting a deployable shield up there, and then you might have somebody playing very aggressively. A lot of times a shotgun. A mute could possibly go there. Ella shotgun, especially if we're talking about EU, because that's Lestream's wheelhouse. So
we've seen at times with the odd Caveira or Valkyrie back in the day. That was what things were basically run with a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. No longer the kids, of course, having those changes, but still, it is definitely a strategy to keep in mind. Sir Boss, in the meantime, trying to burn out any ADSs that have been set by Leon in the back, and he will find nothing, at least on the site itself.
Did hear the telltale pop of a black eye there, so somewhere Meepy lost a cam. I don't know if that was any intel that possibly could have been inside of the server area. Not entirely certain. Some teams also showing off the new invitational skins, by the way, that came out today. Leon Kids on the flank. Really nice opening frag onto Ravon there, as they knew that the Maverick was going to be taking care of one of those hatches. And even then, you see Leon's going to be able to get away with very little HP, and Penta's going to have to hunt him down. They know he's not too far off, then they'll be hungry to try and look for him downstairs in open area.
Leon is moving around here, coming in from Skylight. Penta have to worry about that. You saw the Maestro camera. Well, you didn't really see it, but it was set on the upstairs. Oh no, Blast is going to go down. Leon has control of the top floor. This is something that Secret, back in the day of P-Dux, kind of failed at doing, but here it's working out. Enemy trying to turn around and fight against his one opponent. Well, actually two in this case. The Valkyrie's even pushed up to try and support Leon in this endeavor. Lems will find one onto Hungry. And 2v5 as Sirboss now low in health from behind. Leon will find 1 and 2. Beautiful kill by Leon to end up the whole round in the way of Secret. A minimum of 3 kills there.
And he was ever elusive. Managed to do it all on a tiny bit of HP after the Maverick was really the only contest that he had upstairs, which was a great call and a good rotate from Secret to be able to take that away. But more surprising that Penta didn't have somebody committed to that open area to watch it.
They did. The Ying was watching, but she was looking the other way, and the Jaeger came in. Now, what I do want to say is I think the way that Team Secret approached the assault on the Maverick was very well done. They didn't push with one player. They had the Valkyrie and the Jaeger going together to make sure they get that kill. It was a ballsy move, but when indeed they were able to make it work, it opened up the entire flank for Secret to exploit, and Penta just had no way of actually trying to figure these kind of things out. Big change for Penta, and this time is bringing the IQ, and for that, they'll forfeit the Maverick.
Probably a smart idea, knowing that you don't really need a Maverick on any of the other sites.
Yeah, you're not gonna, obviously, Secret, this is for people that might not know this, but hey, you win the site, you can't play it again until 2 rounds later. So you have to change the site. Penta realized, okay, we're not gonna need it anymore. We'll run the IQ, we'll deal with any utility, especially if they're expecting Legion and the Valkyrie in this case.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're looking at a possible CEO hold upstairs, Maverick can be beneficial when teams run Castle an awful lot because you can cut through those barricades without taking them out and really, honestly, give yourself the advantage there, especially if a team is using the Castle barricades on the exterior, but it's not going to be the case when you go down to Teller's Archives. A bit of a gamble, though, just because Teller's Archives seems to have fallen out of favor as the secondary site, at least over the last couple of weeks. CEO has seen an astonishingly high pick rate in comparison to previous seasons. So you could have possibly gone with that, but if you've got a good read on Secret and you know what they're going to go and whether they're going to run a castle or not, then you don't necessarily need that. So not too much of a surprise to see it the way it is.
Nice. Sirboss will move into the entrance here of the bank and take down the default cams. In the meantime, just checking around for any Valkyrie cameras that have been set or any ambush that Secret are preparing, but there is none to be found, at least in open area. Meepy setting up, and we'll have eyes on anybody going through the stairs. In the meantime, Penta just coming in, not pushing the top floor. As I say that, actually, Ravon is on top, just trying to clear things out with, oh, Leon. What is that maneuver? He goes in for the fire and actually nabs the kill. Hungry's going to be lost. Nobody banned the Ying against Hungry, and they're just going to use it to, oh no, force them to be super comfy, but Leon escaping with his life.
That's a really bold play to take as Leon, just looking all the way in towards the main lobby. And it's one of those high-risk, high-reward plays that is typical for Leon. It's what we see of him a lot. A lot of people will refer to them as brainless, where he just kind of goes around and just does stuff that defies logic. But he gets away with it.
Yeah, specifically his own teammates. We're not saying it, to like denigrate Leon.
Leon Gids, when he's let off the leash, is a frightening animal. And he can just absolutely consume teams. You look at G2 here. He's going to be consumed himself by Bloss. So an entry from Penta all the way up to the teller's desk, and they'll look in towards the sites. I'm not exactly certain why the Maestro would present himself in that instance, because that wasn't really a move that Leon needed to make. It's also going to freeze those Evil Eye cams, so the intel will continue to be gathered, but the flexibility from using them is gone. Yeah,
after you make that first move, basically, you got it. You don't have to put yourself out there even more. You got the big pick on the Ying. You know what's happening. And Stizzy, in the meantime, actually took half damage there on the smoke. So got to be careful. It actually gets shut down by Sirboss from upstairs. So no control for Secret here to try and fight that top floor. Lems, in the meantime, will scurry up the stairs, and Sirboss is going to be waiting for him as the Legion's been tagged and actually shot from the side. Rivon will take him out. Meepy taking a ton of damage in the meantime, forcing him away. 2v4 and barely a Valkyrie alive in this situation. Lackey's going to sit in the archives and wait until his opponents come in, but they're just busy playing.
I was going to say, this information should be relayed to them, right? They're getting the marks down. You should be able to jump upon it. Meepy doesn't need a ton of HP to throw that C4 out, and the rest of Penta will have to scramble, as they're going to have to go for a plant, but Lackey just missing his shots. Meepy was just a hair away from death, and Lackey's going to have to battle the timer here in just a matter of time. Lighting up Bloss, but the plant will go down quite successfully. Lackey is in an almost hopeless situation, as he can't rotate out without everybody looking at him, and they're just going to patiently wait. and it's multiple levels that Lackey will have to fight on. He's going to lose them all, so Penta will be able to equalize here on the second round.
All to Sir-Boss's credit in this time. Able to take control of the top floor, uncontested, unmolested the whole round, and is just able to fire down into all his opponents. You know, he's there, he's supported by Revon as well in the hallway. They both have a complete lockdown, and this is the problem with the site here. If you have no one playing that top floor, this is why you mentioned the castle early on, where it does allow you to play on the top floor without having to worry too much about your opponents just pushing into you. The minimum, you'll be able to delay them for as long as possible. In this case, the whole floor was just forfeit there, and it's a bit surprising that Secret will actually go for that sort of strategy. This time they'll go for staff room open area, which is pretty interesting, but they'll grab the castle to play on this round. And guess what? Blast, anticipating all of this, will bring the Zofia. It's going to be fairly easy to dispatch most of the castle barricades.
Yeah. You need that soft destruction here. Sledge doesn't get played all that much, even though he is as hardest a counter as you can possibly muster against a castle. All it takes is a swing of the hammer. He doesn't need to put himself in the path of danger, so obviously that's something to keep in mind, but he definitely has that soft destructive capability, coupled with the ability to just destroy any reinforcement from a castle that they find, which is obviously something that Buck will need to do with a frag grenade, not as easily. Sophia is excellent at it, though, so is Ash. And I'd imagine that if Revon doesn't bring a Claymore here, which you don't really need Claymores all that much on bank, especially on this site, you'll probably see breaching charges in the hands of the IQ. You'll put the IQ upstairs, be able to tear away at some of the floor, and then just do the gadgetry work as well. That would be my guess is how they're going to use Revon. Put him upstairs on that second floor, let him open up the floor with those 3 breaching charges, and then have everybody else consolidate on site. Excellent opportunity would be for Hungry then to just pull those right again.
Well, Leon, after having deployed his castle barricades, can first maneuver around the map, as basically your job's done at that point. Castle is the best impression of a peon in Warcraft 3, basically. But Hungry, work. I know, doing work. Hungry gets the first one. That's a Zergrush of anything.
Yeah, unfortunate for the castle to be able to push up that way, and once again, just showing how aggressive Leon can be. And that's the big thing, right? Is like I said, it's high risk, high reward. Leon will go up, and he doesn't necessarily need to take these fights. It works out quite well. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. Also, all these Valkyrie cameras that have been set down by Lackey getting spotted within moments from Revon, and that's simply just because it's the way that IQ works. So nothing really strange to see this, and really good use of utility. I like the change out, and showing the Penta Sports' flexibility on attack and the gadgets that they bring on their behalf are suited quite well to Secret's lineup.
Yeah, and Penta so far looking pretty darn good. Stizzy trying to fight against Sir Boss here. And Sir Boss, I have to say, the flank watch on the Ash is very much impressive what he's been doing so far. Enemy will find 1 kill as well, taking down Meepy. So now losing the Maestro again. Definitely not a good spot you want to be in when there's so many ways to enter open area. No way to maneuver your evil eyes. In the meantime, though, Lackey will respawn, taking down Blast, removing the Zofia from play. Those castle barricades are still up, and no stun nades to be used for later, as distinctly Team Secret are not bringing a Jaeger. You have to worry about that.
Very surprised to see open area with a Mira ban coming out as well. A lot of teams have had very limited success on defending open area without a Mira. That obviously poses a problem just at a base level too for teams. So. But I mean, you've got time on the hands of Penta, and as you mentioned, they've got a lot of good utility. There's no Jaeger whatsoever, and I think that's actually a pretty big downside with how projectile and throwable heavy Penta is. You almost always want to make sure that you have a Jaeger available, or you have to play very far back and let those throwables and projectiles from Penta go off and just not be caught, essentially, by you. I don't exactly know what Steezy was doing there that aggressively on the stairs, but he literally just wanders right up as a smoke, gets a really important frag onto the Ash, and could have almost just single-handedly swung this in favor of his team.
Oh, he uses the Candela perfectly, though. That's what happens. When you see a Candela being thrown at you, you get aggressive against it, and that's how Secret are able to get the round back. Lackey will find the last 2 on the Valkyrie. Again, as I was saying, when you see a Candela thrown at you, don't run away. It's going to flash you. It's very rare that you don't get flashed. What do? That's the correct maneuver. Peek out and fire. Because more often than not, that operator, the Ying in front of you, is waiting to push you and get the kill. Kill hungry, whilst she's running around, not going to be able to ADS fast enough to fire into you, and that's where you capitalize. Wonderfully done there.
Yeah, Steezy was kill hungry, and kill hungry indeed he did. So there you have it. It was a really good play, and it swung around that really should have been, in my opinion, strongly in Penta Sports' favor. They had tons of projectiles, they had tons of throwables. They had 3 Candelas available, they had the fragging potential, they had the disruption from the Zofia. They had all the hatches open. But there was nobody watching the stairs. Once again, Penta's biggest issue is they have nobody dedicated to watching Secret being able to maneuver around and attack from an angle that usually you'd have somebody watching. It's a 4v3. You can put somebody on flank watch and still have 3 people try to carry out your execute with 40 seconds to go. That's perfect timing. But
that's what the Ash is trying to do.
Well, the Ash was looking up the stairs, though. That was the problem. The Ash was positioned on the main stairs, looking upwards, not necessarily downwards. Looked downwards, got a couple shots on in towards the Teller side of things, and then looked away. And Steezy basically just materialized in a thin air in an angle that the Ash probably should have been covering. And that was really on Sir Boss's shoulder to be able to cut down that smoke. Yeah, you might not be able to take out the smoke, but that call came late, and that's when Hungry stumbled to get the Candela off and push a little bit later. That push should have come much faster.
Yeah, again, lack of efficient flank watch, I guess, compared to the first round. At least Penta had a pretty easy time to control the top floor before. But again, you mentioned it at the start of the show. You know, Bank is one of the more equal maps in the current metagame, and it's not too surprising to see things, you know, swing one way or the other during the progression of this game. Especially with 2 teams that are fairly close, like we see here between Secret and Penta. Both have been, you know, not having the perfect days, but they definitely are equal in terms of skill and experience at this point. You see even the Jaeger setting up Leon Gids the same as we saw before in the blue stairs. Now, the easiest way to deal with someone who's playing in here is not to rush them, is to open up the hatch behind them. So this way they have to worry about their flanks. And whoa, a wide peek from Leon as Blast will swing and take him out. Unsure still of what's behind the wall. Penta will just drone in, and once they know it's all clear, you're going to run on down and take control of servers.
Secret seems to be battling from behind in almost every single one of these rounds, yet they've made it work. This is a lot harder of a site to be able to do that, because once a plant goes off, you usually need to retake in a way that you don't have an advantage when you are below numbers. Now, obviously, you never really want to be in a position where you are down on numbers, duh. But this site in particular, you typically need somebody to push up and take control of one of those hatches, because you're going to have somebody playing on the hatch over top of the actual site, or you might have somebody watching one of the peripheral hatches, like the one over towards Vault, at least the entrance to Vault. So, not a good start, and especially when you lose Leon Gids. The danger for Secret is that if they lose Leon Gids early in a number of rounds and he sputters, and he can't really get any points on the board, Secret's going to find themselves in a world of hurt, because so many rounds they rely on him to be able to carry them. Not that there isn't depth on the rest of the team, but it's definitely something for them to keep in mind. You need to make sure Leon's going in hot.
Yeah, Sir Boss is going to try to find the Maestro camera here. There you go. This is a pretty good spot. It does force you to get a bit more exposed, but Sir Boss finding the perfect way of dealing with it. And, well, the plant should come down soon, but it's all about baiting equipment first. And Team Secret cannot get aggressive as they could before by having Leon and Meepy, as of course Leon was lost in this case. Last smoke canister is going to get chucked in as Candela will fall and force Pulse back, but Lackey's in a pretty good spot. He's just going to try and spot his opponents out. And, you know, it's very easy to chuck a C4 very, very far here, and these sorts of plays to just bait out equipment doesn't really always work against Secret. Still, kill from above, Hungry. Oh, damn, that's a nice kill from above. The C4 will not connect, but the diffuser will. In the meantime, Hungry to get one more through the hatch. Complete control. Again, you shut down the flanks of Team Secret, and that's how you win it. He's going to get one more kill here. Ravana find it, leaving all up to Alems as he dives into CCTV. Gets shot down by Blast. Wonderfully done by Penta. It's just, both teams are kind of showing this here. When Penta have good cohesive flank watch and get an early pick that they can use to shut down Secret's maneuvering around the map, it's all good. Once they don't, Secret are able to get the flank and outplay them in that respect.
Yeah, it seemed like most of Secret was paralyzed by the way that that push went out. You saved your concussions, you saved your Candelas. Basically, Penta got to save every single bit of their gadgets for the actual execute, which is really astonishing, all things considered, because usually teams will bleed or burn through that just on their entry. or trying to figure out where the roamers might be. Wasn't really the case here, as Leon was given up for free, and then because of that, it was just more of a domino effect. Secret can push into the site. They've got their 2 concussives. They've taken out the Evil Eyes. They can bait out the smokes. They just need to wait for 1 C4 to go off. You saw it get tossed from the Pulse, and that was a big issue with Secret, was they didn't have a secondary C4 that could have gone out to connect onto the diffuser when it was finally going down from enemy just at the CCTV doorway. When that C4 ended up missing, it was basically all but over because you'd heard the last Candela go off, and then Penta just needs to sit and wait, and they had such a numbers advantage and lead at that point. There's no way Secret was going to be able to run back unless they had pulled off some kind of miracle, which does happen from time to time, but par for the course. The attacking team ended up holding through in that point.
Yeah, my big question in this round is, will Secret change things up and actually put players on the top floor, or will they completely forfeit that position and allow Penta to take control of it again? Well, they might not be ringing the castle, but they'll have a Lems up here and possibly Meepy to help him out. It makes a lot of sense. I'm not sure if Leon will actually go for his picks like he did last, well, 2 rounds ago. Just too aggressive and ended up costing the team some early picks that, you know, should not have really happened. There was nobody around to go up and challenge the top floor Penta, at least their take, just because, well, everybody had to be busy to hold on to the multiple positions and angles that are in the site itself. You couldn't really forfeit any manpower to go to other positions. And Lems, I love the spot here behind the desk. Sees her boss on the outside waiting for information from his teammates before he dives in.
The only problem is if he gets droned out, what happens next for him? That's the big thing, and if Penta can be able to maneuver people over in that way, this is basically a free frag onto a Lems. Also, questionable usage of the utility for a Lems, because if you look, well, he's got only 1 goo mine on him. This might be a really tough position, but Meepy could go for a run out as well and establish a nice crossfire onto these players. As long as a Lems can continue to just try and waste time, it's an advantage for him. The bigger problem, like I said, those goo mines are going to continue to be generating and not really going anywhere.
Well, see, the 1 drone has been taken down. It'll give information back to Penta, but Alems, he somehow finds the kill. Sir Boss on the outside, enemy taken down. Alems with a 2nd one. Up in CEO, and then runs back into Jen. Not sure if the hatch is open for him to run through, and that was a run out, actually, from Meepy's Valkyrie. So something that we actually have been seeing every now and then, mostly in Latin America. We've seen it a couple times in NA last season. This is a great capitalization on Penta's passive play. Yeah,
I think it's something that we saw from Mark or Retro as well when they were known as Cloud9 on it too, just jumping out then going through the sewers and playing Ninja Turtles as I think people have called it before. But the bigger problem is that Penta was unable to breach into CEO. They're stuck upstairs then, Bloss says into chat. I don't know why that is being typed.
Is this microphone broken?
I should hope not. Communication is the cornerstone of success here. But you've taken out Leon, who once again is the opening death for Team Secret. It comes a little bit late, and this is a round that is going to be very difficult to salvage for Penta.
Yeah, Revon just looking in from admin office. They'll have to recover the diffuser, and Hungry will be en route. 30 seconds, though, left on the clock. Not much for Penta to really do much with, as Secret look to lock this out and get themselves a 3rd round on the board. Shotguns at the ready, at least the 1. Run by Stizzy on the smoke. First gas canister has been used. Perfect timing. Candela will come in, and that's all 3 of them for Hungry, who's not seen a ton of success so far on the operator. Comes in right behind the smoke. Will get 1 kill, but is low on health. His teammate will get shot down by Lackey, but he's got the refrag. Goes in for the diffuser plant. The last 2 players of Team Secret will face off against a very wounded player here of Hungry, and the instant he plants, he gets shot down. Both angles held very efficiently here. The attack by Secret. I like how they both entered but from different angles and knew exactly what was going on, and there you go. The defensive Secret will put 1 on the board.
It's back and forth for both of these teams. I was actually going to comment before we went into this round that the key for Penta is just get the diffuser down, and at that point you're going to be able to just run it through the rest of the round, but that's 3 diffusers for Penta down. They won 2 of those rounds, but they failed on that one.
You don't get a half round for those.
No, you don't. there's no half points here.
Those aren't Pro League settings.
Not awarded for you. But when you look at the way that played out for Penta, impressive with how they were able to recover given the fact that they ended up in such a big hole to start off with, right? It's a 2v5. Very limited utility. You've got a Maverick and a Ying. That's really it that you all have. And yeah, Maverick can poke holes and cause your life to be miserable.
30 seconds, though.
But you don't have a ton of time. You had it was like, I think, 1 minute and 10 seconds left for a 2v5 to unfold, and Secret got quite aggressive, and I think they wanted to go frag chasing to a certain extent. Secret does tend to be aggressive from time to time, try and catch their opponents off guard, but overall, it almost ended up throwing the round away and in favor of Penta, who played it okay, but it was more just on Secret to not be able to do things appropriately.
Yeah, it came down to Secret, you know, just getting the early picks. It's something that they weren't doing every round before.
Yeah. Leon gets dies early on.
Yes.
I am a little confused with how Penta repelled up on the CEO windows. You've got a Zofia and you've got Nash up there. You've got 2 drones in trying to figure out where LMs is. You know he's stuck in the room. Zofia's got 2 concussive mines that are both proximity detonated.
Nothing's used.
You can just flush one of them in there. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't think we saw a breaching round go off from Ash. I don't think we saw any of the lifelines go off from Zofia. And they basically were free. There was no reason to even bother worrying about you know, what they were going to do, because for Alems, he just needed to exist up there. And that was it. There was no real challenge.
Oh, okay. Alem, you speak of Alems, but I guess he went for a run out and was swiftly shut down by Blast. So, unfortunately, that's a lost operator early on, which means Secret won't really be able to maneuver outside of those sites. At least I say that, but, you know, look at the Jaeger, look at Meepy. I'm going to try to use those advanced positions to their advantage. Meepy might go for a peek here against both Hungry and Sir Boss. The flashes have been thrown in and they check him. Oh man, Sir Boss will dive in and aim directly at Meepy to take down that Valkyrie. This at least should force Leon to run away, at least stick to the site and not get even more aggressive, because this is getting complicated. No, actually, no. Secret will double down and push all 3 players upstairs. They'll find one on Hungry and take him out. They're checking for the rest as you see the Zofia diving in, and Leon, how does he win it with 1 HP? He'll get the kill, he'll take down Blast, dive in and take no damage. But Sir Boss finishes off Stizzy.
Tons of time for a reset here on Leon, which is going to need to happen. Just ensure that Penta's not going to push too aggressively. If I was Penta, I would push for it, but the only thing that might be stopping Penta would be the information game. You know that Leon plays really aggressively, and you presume that there's a pulse left on the board. And because of this, you need to be able to determine where Leon is, because he could be getting fed all this information from the range of that cardiac sensor. So for Penta, you got a lot of time. Play it a little bit more passively. But Leon, of course, not passive at all. Creeping up on the Maverick, and oh, he'll take out Ravon and go back down to very limited HP. They've got Lackey up there as well. They're working in tandem with one another as they'll head back downstairs and try to cut somebody off. This is a collision course if I've ever seen one. Lackey aiming just a little too low, and he'll get cut off inside a red. This is dangerous territory for Leon, having to work through all those metal bars. He knows that he's got 2 members to go against. One plant going down, he'll get caught in the cross by Sir Boss.
That was explosive there, to say the least. It turned... I have to commend Secret for at least making up a plan and sticking to it, though. Like, okay, you know what? We lost 2 players early on. You know what we're going to do? Make sure we put even more manpower upstairs and do as much work as humanly possible. And they got close to it. This round got way too close for how it started off with that Vigil pick and then the Valkyrie pick after it. And Secret, at least when Leon's alive, they're able to play around him. It's definitely commendable. And we'll see how things go here, as now Secret are on the attack. Not surprising at all that, you know, on bank and between these 2 teams, we get a 3-3 perfect half, or perfect tied half between the 2 teams. So, see how things go for Penta, as guess what? They're going to go back down and play CCTV and set things up, as they themselves are bringing the Maestro, and they're also bringing the Pulse. And what is that an M870 Jaeger? Can we go back to enemy for just a second? Marcy, proszę, please, can we go to enemy for a second?
Oh, Spectator says no, apparently. There you go. Deployable shield, you know where he's going to play.
Ah, he's going to play at boosters.
All familiar.
You need the ADS. Understandable, right? But you don't want to bring the Ala because you want to play Legion as well. So what do? Bring Jaeger with actually one of the best shotguns in the game. So, completely understandable, and we'll see if this works or it does not.
I think you should specify one of the best shotguns in the game at point-blank range.
Yes.
Because the drop-off on it is tremendous, the spread is awful, and trying to take anything that isn't an immediate fight, yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah. But in the position he's being put in...
It's perfect, because you've got the deployable shield, you know that somebody's going to have to vault over. We've seen a lot of teams stack up a Guzmat there and have an Ela play. Obviously, she's got reduced duration to her own ability. You might see a Mute there. you might see a Jaeger. And that's exactly what it's going to be. The biggest issue is that if the team can flush you out or move around that, you are effectively useless for the rest of the round. And that is the recovery that a lot of teams are unable to make when using that strategy. And good teams will read into that and know, oh, hey, that's a shotgun in his hands. Maybe let's go somewhere else. Or, hey, let's maybe try to push him off quickly. And then you've essentially taken control for free, and you've sacrificed, on Jaeger in particular, one of the best guns in the game in the 4.16 carbine. Got him.
Very well said. Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, Sir Boss just going through all of the cameras, Meepy in the meantime on the Jackal. So very good in case there's some sort of flank play. In this case, not going to be. Oh, hello. This is interesting. We rarely see this, but the Maverick one-taps the shield. It's not something I've tested in the past, as usually the shields are not deployed in this position. But there you go. Not even a need to use Zofia for this. The shotgun's going to get detected, and as you said, this is completely going to force the Jaeger away. ADSs have been burned, and look at that. Both the Pulse and the Jaeger will be put in the crack red hallway. So now enemy's going to have to use his pistols, or his pistol, to play from the back. This is not a great situation to be in if you're Penta, but at least Secret are comfortable. They have a ton of time, they've done things correctly, they've done their homework in this round, and they can very easily open up the wall and entry into CCTV.
They got the wall open quite well, and the typical rhythm of CCTV starts at some point. You see the accuracy of Sir Boss. He'll clean up all the drones, and great work, but there's a Zofia on the board, and you're very likely going to lose this Evil Eye at some point. And there it goes. It does definitely sound like Lackey's able to take care of it. I don't know if he actually got it. Yeah, he did. So he's dislodged the Evil Eye. Teams realizing that utility going down there, you say goodbye to. Obviously no ADS being positioned. That's another issue with the way that they played the Jaeger on those stairs. You set up 2 ADSs there.
Yep.
If you can force them out early, those ADSs are completely wasted. And now look at this. All the throwables and projectiles from Secret can get dumped right into the site. And it'll be really easy for them to just lock it out. With Meepy watching from above, a C4 will completely miss. A Ravon plant goes down. Steezy just narrowly missing his life to that marigold cloud of smoke. Ravon will open things up for Penta, but it's a little too late. Now you've also got the pulse of Ravon off of the sensor here. So you don't have that information that you need. You assume you know where Secret is going to be positioned, but you don't have a lot of utility at your disposal, and Secret just needs to wait patiently. They've got Claymores down, what you need for the site. You just need to be patient. The Jaeger's going to peek out, and there's Ravon to actually take out Steezy, or rather the pulse peeks out, not the Jaeger. Meepy watching from above. Somebody just needs to keep an eye on that, but Sir Boss, a beautiful shot. And Secret have actually found themselves trailing. Not a lot of time, and they are defusing quite well. Sir Boss gets it, and Lackey is nowhere to be found. Penta steals a round that Secret should have quite easily hung on to, and that is just Penta getting extremely fortunate with the plays and rotates of Secret.
Secret happy, so happy with their Claymores. Guess what? They're too far away to allow you to contest your defuse plant. And yeah, masterfully done by Penta. And I have to say, the fact that the Maestro was able to kill the Jackal watching from the open area office, wonderful. The whole flank was suddenly open. Leon did not have time to rotate up and play the Maverick in the correct position, or at least replace his fallen comrade in that spot. And the Zofia, again, too slow. And in theory, the whole thing should have gone Secret's way, but in practice, Penta won the fights, and that's what mattered.
Yeah, that really should have been a very easy hold for Secret, all things considered. And, I mean, Sir Boss nailing that shot from the hatch as Maestro. I mean, he was there deliberately. He was there deliberately to try and cut down the hatch player, which I believe was the Jackal upstairs that was trying to watch the diffuser, and there was just nothing for Secret to be able to do. Really, really well played.
All right, now open area. We're going to see each team going for it. So we'll see what the differences are for Penta. Now what Secret did and like to do in general, we've seen this before as well from the team, is that they play off of the site by just having as much horizontal control as possible on it. Making sure that whenever somebody tries to come in, they can completely converge on their position and take them out from outside of the site itself. In this case, Penta will at least try to get as much information as possible by having the Valkyrie in play. And guess what? Your mobile Mira, aka enemy on the Clash. So, pretty excited to see this. Clash doesn't see a ton of play, and her SMG has not been switched to full auto just yet,
Yeah.
but it is something that might be coming in the future.
This Clash pick is going to be very interesting. So,
Oh, yes.
yeah. Terrible win rate, actually, as the win delta came out, showing how bad she is and how underutilized by a lot of teams she is, and just really proving the frustration that a lot of people have. And it's very interesting because even when she was at her strongest, which I think a lot of people can agree was last season, the way the teams used her was basically save her till the final 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Keep her alive until the final 30 seconds. If there's an early confrontation, you best bet that you have a Capital. If you don't, you're going to be in for a world of hurt because she's able to beat most other operators, except for maybe a Zofia. And a frag grenade if you happen to throw it well.
Even then, she still has a ton of explosive resistance, so
Yep.
still very doable for the Clash. Yeah, Sizzy just continuing in. He moves in from the tellers. They know that there's a player right behind, and that's the Legion. But they're going to be distracted here, Secret, by the clash of enemy. He set himself on his own in the office. Barricade set up as well by Sir Boss to at least try and force Secret to push in from this spot. And Lems, there you go. Through the Jackal aid, at least. Blast will go down, and it's a big pick on the Legion. Removing those goo mines that would be great to take out Team Secret before they enter the site. Well, this will force the Valkyrie back. Ravon taking a ton of damage. They're trying to use the Clash as best as possible, but Sir Boss actually will find the kill on Stizzy, and this equalizes things very quickly.
And Sir Boss has been absolutely racking them up as well, doing great jobs of fragging on his rolls. And on a castle, you're not necessarily going to be jobbed with fragging well, but I mean, your job is done the moment that you get those barricades down and you're able to start to move around. So control for Secret upstairs is great, but they need to transition that to the open area. And this is going to be where the real challenge steps in. Enemy gets himself in a dangerous situation, sustaining some damage from above. Here's one of the follies of running a Clash here, is that you're going to have pressure from two angles. And there's lots of soft destruction on Secret side of things, especially with a Lems on that sledge, to make the life miserable for anybody on Penta. I'm not exactly certain how Sir Boss was able to get that kill onto Leon. That was a real head-scratcher, but the castle will walk away with a victory over top of the IQ and her AUG, and leave us in a pretty good position for Penta. But this is going to mirror what we saw from Secret on that one engagement, in which Secret really should have held on, but failed to put it all together. It's just a simple read here from Penta and a double kill from Ravon. Maybe jumps on in, but you know he's going to be in trouble with a Clash staring right at him. And two other members of Penta there to clean up. And this has been great from Penta so far through the latter half of this game.
Their defense has been fantastic in that moment. That was basically Avril Lavigne in a nutshell. I knew you were trouble when you walked in. And even, yeah, forgive me, I'm being a 13-year-old.
I mean, this is where I
chime in.
This is where I have to chime in and say that my knowledge of pop culture tells me that that's Taylor Swift.
Is that?
Unfortunately, I do know that.
Ha ha ha! Baited, absolutely baited.
I don't know if it's worse that you dropped an Avril Lavigne reference or that I was able to correct it to another pop culture artist.
We'll agree that
we both lost. We both lost that 100%.
Basically.
Absolutely.
So, we'll see how this defense now comes in for Penta, as 5-3 is a pretty good scoreline. They have a bit of extra redundancy if they do end up tying with Secret. And we'll see if Penta actually learn from Secret's mistake and later on how they were able to fix their defense by putting players, at least the one, up top. Now, obviously, you don't have a Stizzy on Penta's side, but no lack of gun skill for Penta, as we've seen between Sir Boss and Revan specifically. So, they play now in Archives and the Tellers. Vaughn setting up his Black Eyes to collect information, and they're even going to put reinforcements up in Janitor and in the CEO chambers, which is obviously a lot more than what Secret dedicated to the site. But this does allow you to be very safe whilst holding on the top floor, and it signifies, hey, maybe we're going to put a bit more than just one player in here and try to fight you, so you don't take that top floor as easily as we did in the very first rounds of this match.
Yeah. I've been really impressed with the retake from Penta. I mean, Secret kind of gave it to them on that first round on defense. Now the second one was a bit more of how it works. And I mean, I got to give credit to them. I also said earlier on in this game that, hey, open area, that typically goes in favor of the attackers. It doesn't really work all that well for the defense. Well, Penta just made it work. More concerning here, I think, is, well, The fact that Alems just got killed, I mean, that's pretty concerning on behalf of Secret, but something is clearly going on with Secret. They are in 7th place in the standings. They look like a team that has tons of potential. They fell out of the quals a little early for the 6 Invitational in comparison to where I think a lot of people expected them to get to.
They fell off against Forza and like halfway down the
well, I think they were in the final 5, if I remember correctly. Because
I will verify.
Because I believe Forza then immediately played Vitality, if I remember correctly, and Vitality beat them, and then Vitality put themselves in the top.
That is very true. They were in the losers round of 4.
So Secret did get close, but I think a lot of people anticipated they would be in that final 3. They've now lost another body in Leon and find themselves in a 5v3, speaking of. What is going on with Secret at this point? Meepy did tweet that he said that they were exhausted with the amount of time that they were playing. They boot camped as well, and obviously, you can't discredit Penta. Obviously, they looked fierce in the way that they were able to take DreamHack Winter. They, came very, very close when Panix was still on that roster to being able to take out G2. Gave them one hell of a fight. Got the spot over SSG, and now since putting Bloss on the roster, it's taken Penta a little bit of time to find their footing. But the bigger question is, what in the world is going on with Secret at the moment? Because they looked like one of the best teams in EU last season, and since then, they just haven't been the same.
Oh, the dive onto Zofia, and Blast finds a second! Oh no, this is all falling apart at the seams early on for Secret. There's only Stizzy alive here, just trying to do damage. All 4 just vanished.
This is the game's on the line, bring out the star player and have him just swing for the fences and just start hitting dingers. And that's exactly what this is with Steezy right now. The man needs to hit a dinger in order to keep his team in contention. And he started off with a good frag onto enemy. He's got Blast down, but I don't think he knows that. But there's top control that is now not really needed because he's the only one left, and he's going to have to crawl through this lattice-esque board here. He can't really do it. He doesn't have a lot of time.
No. And it's going to walk into a Guma and make it even more difficult. What I really want to emphasize here is, you said Secret bootcamp. They bootcamp for over a week. They had even their coach Helby with them in Denmark. There you go. Serboss just cleans it up. At that point, the whole round was moved pretty much. But they had everything going their way. But even when they were bootcamping, they were not able to do much, which I guess speaks volumes. I don't know if Secret are going to keep playing at the level that they were at before. And I think now is the perfect time to start asking the question because this is play day 5. After this, and if you're not in a good spot, your chances of going to LAN turn to almost 0. You're not going to rely on a Cinderella story every single time. Though I also don't want to mention too much the fact that I just imagined KS as Cinderella because they came back last season. That aside, I'm very sorry, chat. I'm very sorry, Parker.
I'm literally watching a man die before my eyes. And it's a slow descent into madness.
Very true. But honestly, it is surprising the way that Secret are playing here. They got their 3 rounds on the defense. Well played. They played their flanks. But some of those were also due to the fact that Penta didn't watch their flanks correctly. And Penta just running away with it. And it seems like not only is the squad functioning very well with Blast, but also with the help of their coach, Jess. All of that together is meshing very well, and they're able to prepare for every single playday perfectly, finding that Secret's biggest advantage is that late flank play, is that aggressive play that Leon would like to do. Shut it down, and suddenly they're gone.
10 seconds left.
It's definitely been Penta warming up. They didn't look that great starting the season off overall. Penta did have some struggles to adjust with Bloss on that roster, and I think that happens when you add somebody new. You're not just gonna start things off, really, really strong. But when you look at Penta, especially after they made this adjustment, it's been a team whose skill ceiling are quite high. Bloss has fit into the roster very well. Obviously, the Panix was a good player too, but they were looking for something a little extra, and they got it. This is a big motivator for Penta. They have a tough group heading into the Invitational in a couple weeks. They need to be able to start firing on all cylinders. This was a team that when they won DreamHack Winter, the bigger focus on Penta was, can this team contest for the top of EU?
Guess what?
Well, the team that we saw for the first 2, maybe 3 weeks, no, they couldn't. But since then, the team has been finding their footing and been looking better even in defeat. And this is a great opportunity here over, I think, another team that a lot of people imagine is playing below their skill level. EU is a mystery so far this season. But with Secret, they have to figure something out because they are trailing. It is match point in favor of Penta. We have 2 minutes to go in this round, and it very much looks like Secret are going to be able to carry this one away because at best, Secret walks away with a draw. At best, Secret walks away with 1 point.
It's going to be complicated. Blast at least setting himself up with the shield in front. Oh, he just goes for that QE peek, but Alems is ready for him. No shield destroyed just yet, but it should be fairly easy to deal with here. Bringing the Maverick, as Leon has shown before. So that's something. You learn something new every day. Alems just watching. No runouts will be coming out of Penta. I'm not sure if enemy was running the 870 again.
I didn't exactly see what he was running on it. It didn't look like it. It definitely looked like he was running the carbine because he... But, I mean, that's... You know, you had the Legion, actually, that was playing up there. So you had the Jaeger a little bit more, you know, enshrined
there we
in
go.
the site.
416. Thank you very much. Let's just keep it.
Yeah, they had the Legion playing up top, watching that deployable shield that the Maverick was at, and the Thermite did engage with him just inside of Electrical. So the biggest issue with Secret right now is this is much slower than it was previously. They've taken an awful lot of time to get where they need to get. And the problem with this site is that if you don't get in quick enough, there's so much utility that teams run on CCTV lockers that you just cannot wait. You cannot work with time on your side because it is very much against you. And only 30 seconds is going to be what it takes, but they did buy themselves some time. They just took out the smoke, and that's a lot less utility that they need to worry about.
Oh, 2 more from Leon as he comes in, and this time he's the one to win the flank play. Revan will throw in his C4. He'll find one, and then a second, and a third one for Revan. Huge kills there for him. Leaves in a 1v2. Sir Boss on the Maestro, definitely doable here for him. He's got to watch out for Leon. He's going to go all the way up to the open area. Diffuser should get set by Meepy, and it will go down. Leon watching. Oh no, he might not know where the stack is coming from, but Sir Boss will fire in. Leon does not turn away from the angle. He'll get fired upon and taken out by Sir Boss. 39 rounds still left in the box magazine as Meepy puts himself in a better position, though there's no Evil Eyes to give Sir Boss any information. A lot of rounds in the magazine there to take out the drone, and Meepy has gone all the way up to Skylight. So, had Sir Boss not dropped down the hatch, this might have been a lot easier to retake, but he's unsure of where his opponent is. He'll go for the peek and gets shot down by Meepy. Unfortunate there. Seemed to be a perfect retake from the boss himself. Well, he's been given an offer that he could not refuse.
Good shrewd play also by Meepy in that regard to go up to the 1 hatch, and because of where it got planted, you can look and see that diffuser just outside of the doorway. So Meepy was in an excellent spot, not just with an audio cue, there was that drone there as well, and they knew where he was going to be coming from. So, yeah, I'm impressed with the way that Secret played that. And almost was able to get a comeback from Penta on Revan's side of things. And really both teams very sloppy in that post plant.
Yep.
It was a lot of sloppiness. Leon, I don't know if he's not playing. I'm imagining that there was probably playing with headphones on. I imagine there were probably comms overruling that because you had the Alda fire a couple shots in the door frame.
And he just couldn't hear it.
Just a foot or two away from Leon, maybe 3-4 feet away from Leon. And he didn't hear it at all. He didn't even flinch. And you know that it's a 2v1.
This is EU, we speak in meters here. That was 2.5 meters away, by the way.
I mean, we use meters in Canada too, but we also use feet.
Yeah, it's such a weird place there. We'll be there soon. Canada.
Soon enough. I will be back home on a good old Canadian soil. So we transition in here to round number 11. Open area. CEO has seen no play so far at all today, which is very weird. Yes, that is a good way of putting it.
10 seconds remaining.
All right, well, again, the castle is going to be a big pick for this, and guess what? Penta are going to bring the clash yet again. So, they used it fairly effectively to delay the assault of Team Secret, at least force them to stick around the Tellers area for so long that they had to impact their way in from Archives to walk into the site. And guess what? Valkyrie was already ready for them. Even the Nitro Cell was actually in the hands of Revan in that situation. So had he not gotten the 2K, an easy turn to the Nitro Cell would have rounded up the entire round there. We'll see how Secret move around this. Now, a few people have been talking about, picks for IQ's guns. Some just don't want the AUG to be ever played. Some just really want to stick to the 5.52. My opinion, all three guns are fairly effective in their own way for IQ. She's one of the few operators that has you know, 3 weapons that can really shine in their own respect. But the Yogg maybe suffers from a bit of that popcorn recoil. Just goes everywhere at times at range, and the 5.52 makes it a bit more easy to control. But that aside, LMs will find the first kill on Blast, and as they impact the side of the wall, that'll be enemy to spot him in the clash.
This clash will be an interesting choice yet again. I mean, it worked out really well, but a lot of it relied on Penta being able to get their frags, especially Sirboss on those main stairs, being able to get their frags before getting towards the site. Now, losing Blast early on was a major is going to be a major problem for them, especially given that the goo mines will slow the advance of Secret, alongside the Clash's Taser also slowing you out as well. So, for Secret, how do you want to approach this? Well, you've got that nice big wall that is ripe for the taking, and that's exactly why Steezy is positioned over by the Skylight Stairwell side of things. The problem is with open area, is that you need to be able to control above, usually while your execute is going off as well. That's the biggest focus for Secret, is to be able to take care of stock and trading up top, and hold those hatches. Now, with Secret only having the Thermite, you have to be very careful about where you use those exothermic charges. Sledge will be able to open up this big double doorway, but you've got that wall right next to it that leads into the staff area that you could possibly Thermite, but you might see Secret actually forgo that. Just have Steezy use those 2 exothermic charges on the hatches above, and just try to funnel in through this double doorway, which doesn't work out quite well, especially with a clash. I would definitely try to put one of those exothermic charges on the wall.
Yeah, no, at least Secret have Leon running breaching charges on the AQ, so top floor control plus destroying parts of the walls, definitely, or the floor, definitely possible to get an extra angle. But here, this is not going to work out. LMs goes down to Hungry, actually pushed up fairly effectively and had the clash behind him to protect him. Wonderfully done there. Revan will connect with C4 as Leon will get one. This is taken out, but this is a 3v3. Well, make that a 3v2. All advantage to Penta Sports. That'll try to clutch the whole thing. Revan will get one more and make that 2 for him on the Valkyrie. Leon last alive, but how great is he to breach into this hard situation? He'll walk right in, the clash right in front, slowing him down. He'll get shot from the side, and Hungry to clean it all up. Ladies and gentlemen, victorious are Penta Sports, a 7-5 for game number 1.
Very frustrating for Secret, I'd imagine, on that matchup, especially running into a clash like that, so...
I was getting ahead of myself. I gave Secret an extra round.
How courteous of you. They could have used it heading into that last one. Especially
it doesn't matter at this point.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
So, especially with the way that Penta used the Clash. And I gotta say, it's nice to see Clash get played sparingly. Obviously, you don't want her to dominate, and she's a notoriously hard operator to balance, just solely because of the way that she works. I would imagine that unless you have a very specific strat with her in mind, it can really frustrate you. So for Secret...
G'day, Jess, can you hear us?
I can. G'day, how are you going?
All things considered, we're doing pretty darn well. First of all, as Parker highlighted, it's Australia Day, so happy Australia Day.
Thank you.
First of all. Number 2, that was a fairly exciting matchup, I have to say. Penta boys looked pretty darn comfortable in the entire game. One problem, though, that, well, 2 specifically that Parker mentioned were, first of all, the reluctance to use their utility to clear out any roamers. And number 2, the fact that their flank watch on their attacking sides was a bit too weak. What's your take on that as their coach?
Look, honestly, for the utility side of things, our attack is part of our weakness, and we've been really trying to work on things like coordination, pushing together, using hot drones, etc. So it's very difficult for us to work on all of the weaknesses as quickly as we would want to. So that's definitely next on our list, but we've got to do things step at a time. We can't sort of rush everything. But in regards to our flank hold, we're pretty conventional with our flank hold. You know, we use drones, we use people, we try and do it a very conventional way. Team Secret ran 2 flankers at the same time, which is very overwhelming for one flank watch to be able to counter. So that really countered our conventional flank watch. So I think that threw us off a little bit there.
Yeah, very understandable. There was a lot of play from Team Secret to try and get the flank on you, and it worked, but not every single time, unfortunately, for Secret. Now, one thing that is always exciting to see is open area, so we can compare and contrast how different teams like to play on the site. And specifically, both of the teams here played a more horizontal take on the defense. However, you guys opted to run a clash in clear contrast to what Secret were doing. What's the mindset behind the clash, and more specifically to how you spread your players around on that horizontal plane to not allow Secret to really take control of the map?
Look, Secret played Bank very recently. We were very aware of that, so the veto kind of went our way. So we were prepared for how they would attack certain sites, the operators they would run, etc. We knew that they wouldn't have the operators that were really needed to counter a clash. The boys have practiced in open area holds consistently over the past few weeks. It's something that we think needs to start coming in to be a more viable bomb site. So with our hold being more effective with the clash, we knew that Secret liked to take their time. And we sort of played into that by running the clash as well.
Yeah, it definitely was a good adaptation from the squad. Now, you know, more specifically now, round number 7, the retake your guys had, or your boys had. Revon and Sir Boss were active throughout the entire game, but specifically that 7th round, the fact that they were still able to, Sir Boss specifically here, to get a shot on the player above him in the hatch and allow him to get closer to the diffuser, at least hungry to get that diffuse in the round, was something that definitely should not have happened. And even maneuvering around your opponents while they were so busy watching the diffuser in the back, I suppose that you were in comms with the team. How were things going between them to relay that info?
Look, honestly, a lot of people complain about that whole clear comms thing. You know, everyone's going to be able to hear everything. Yeah. In that moment, no one could hear anything but exactly where everyone was. It was just loud comms the whole time, like, on the hatch, and people are trying to pre-fire, and it was amazing because in my head I get to picture it because I don't see it yet, and the comms coming out, and then I just hear a massive yes, and then I'm like, okay, clearly the comms worked. So it's what we aim to do with it. We give everyone the calls as to where people are, and then if you can get the shot, it's your best chance to do it. And we try and pick certain people to do it so that other people can, you know, like you saw, get the diffuse, etc.
It was fairly well done. I have to say that some of those shots were extremely impressive, and it keeps with the running of the team where Sir Boss and Revan are definitely showing up. Not to take anything away from the rest of the players, but you know, there's everybody working together as a team, and then 2 really showing up on the board. There's definitely something that we're looking forward to seeing more of in the next 2 play days. Well, tomorrow specifically, but also it's 6 Invitational, which is coming up soon. I'm not sure if you guys have any boot camp planned until then, but it's definitely something something that will aid the squad before heading to Montreal. Anyways, thank you very much, Jessica, for the interview. Congratulations again on the victory 7-4 on Bank versus Secret. Anything you'd like to say to the fans watching out there?
From the entire team, we would all like to say to all of the fans that every message you guys send us is so important and it really motivates us, so keep it up. We love you guys very greatly. And of course, to all the sponsors, thank you so very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Jessica. Good night.
Good night.
Excellently well put. And nice to get the philosophy behind that. You know, Jess is somewhat of a new face to a lot of the Pro League community. I had the chance to get to know her quite well in DreamHack Winter, and I got to say I've been really impressed with her dedication, I would say, and her thoroughness.
Yeah, and thoroughness is the exact word. Now again, Jess not only was coaching here, but she also casts every now and then. She's to cast as well with the APAC region. So she's from Australia, that she lives in Europe now, moving in to have this opportunity with Penta Sports, and it definitely is showing. The amount of work that the whole team has been putting together under her guise, this is what you get. Victories, and the biggest one is qualifying for 6 Invitational after the fantastic game against Space Station Gaming at DreamHack. So all that put together, that was game number 1. We still have 3 more to go here, Parker, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.